Okay, so Christmas time, it's still around. Still feels like it, even though Christmas is over. It's that time before Christmas and New Year where we still kind of feel it. And so I watch Home Sweet Home Alone. Now I remember when this came out last year. Apparently, I reacted to the trailer to it. I don't remember that. I remember people saying it was so bad, the worst in the franchise. And as a fan of every single one of these movies, well, no, as a fan of this franchise who's seen every single one of these movies multiple times, uh, this one ain't the worst. Like, no, that would be four. All right, I'm someone who, despite my love of sequels, I like Home Alone 2, but it's really just the first one retreaded. I love 3. 3 is my favorite one. All right, and I'm sitting here like, Home Sweet Home Alone. I just watched this the first time with only the context of I thought two cameos, but there was one, and that's it. That's all I knew. And it was on Disney Plus. That's all I knew. So this one follows a married couple played by Ellie Kemper and a dude RTH. Like, is that no? Played by Ellie Kemper and Rob. That's what that is. He looks so familiar. Rob Delaney. Okay. That's why I look familiar. All right. Yeah, by Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney. The Mackenzies. Yeah, that's who we follow. And Rob Delaney has this doll, this ugly doll that's kind of that was deformed. It was a misprint, and he's talking to this kid, the kid you see on the cover there, and he's like, "Yeah, be careful." The kid wants to touch it, and he's like, "Hey, be careful with that." He takes it back. That interaction sets up the movie, all right. And that doll ends up stolen, and all signs point to the kid. So Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney break into this kid's house after he's been left home alone, try and get the doll back. That's the synopsis, okay? And I think that's why most of why people are not liking this movie because they flipped it. I mean, it's Home Alone 6. It was time to do something different. This time around, the burglars are not the villains. They're just this poor couple who just don't have any money, might be forced to move, and never want to. The kids don't want to. They're trying to save their family, and they're being stolen from. And half the movie half the movie is building that up, but yeah. And so they got no choice but to break into this house of this kid who thinks they're coming to get him and take him to some random elderly women. I don't know. And that's why people don't like it. Like, I mean, I thought it was good. It did something different. Another reason is the comedy. It's not terribly good, but it's not like offensively bad. Like, it opens with Ellie Kemper making a joke about getting lit. I'm like, because I don't use that word ever. I hate that word. I don't speak millennial despite being one. I'm like, okay. And the slapstick, I don't mean when they're getting their asses kicked. I mean before that. They're tripping over stuff and burning the walls. It's not funny at all. And then even the homages, like, there's one where his mother, the kid's mother here, when she finds out that she left him home alone, just like in the first one, she rushes to go back, and she's on a plane. And sitting next to her is a larger gentleman, a fat dude, and you can't help but look at her monitor while she's staring at it, and there's nothing on it but the map to where they're headed. Very boring. Legs strip longer. And she's like, "Do you mind?" And he's like, "I'm sorry." Like, I would do that too. Like, that's interesting. It's not. That's what's interesting. What are you doing? But yeah, and she just explains about she's trying to get to her kid, and dude's like, "Oh, okay," and apologizes and looks at her screen again, and that's the interaction. Until I cut back and he's sleeping on her shoulder, wiping his nose on it, and she makes a face like it wasn't funny or anything. And the mother is played by Ashley B, who's hilarious. She's a comedian. And that scene is like the one from the original where Catherine O'Hara is rushing home and she runs to a larger, like a fat dude, the late great John Candy, who notices she's upset and everything, and so talks to her. He asks her about Kevin, and she talks about him, and she calms down. That's what this dude should have done. We're giving us more development on the kid and the mother, but no, it just kept cutting back to him peeking at her screen, eventually sleeping, wiping boogers, and like that's another reason. Like you don't even pick up until they break into the house, which is well past the halfway point, by the way. And yeah, I mean, there's some moments. I mean, cause the cast in this is something else. Like I said, Ellie Kemper, Rob Delaney, Esther Povitsky's also for a blip. Chris Parnell's also for a blip. Kenan Thompson is in this, which they didn't even use the obvious joke of all obvious jokes. I mean, Kenan Thompson is in this movie, and for some reason, orange soda is a plot point. I feel like that would write itself. Just the kid, when he meets Rob Delaney and he sees the orange soda, he's like right at the beginning, he's like, "Can I have one?" He's like, "I don't know. It's a lot of sugar. It's probably actually mother." Valid. What the way he said it was kind of ridiculous. Once again, it sets up the movie. And at the end, when they're at the house, when they're at Ellie Kemper, Robert Delaney's house with the kid, his mother, their friends, and he sees the pop again, he's like, "Can I have one?" And once again, it's like, but he's different. This time it's more friendly. I don't know. It's a lot of sugar. It's probably like some mother. And Ellie Kemper's like, "Remember last time? Just give him one." And then when they break into the house thinking they found a doll, instead, it's a big-ass can of this orange soda. Like, for some reason, that's a plot point that didn't involve Kenan Thompson. And if you're a 90s kid, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, how hard could it have been to have him find some orange soda and be like, "Orange soda. I sort of like this orange soda. Weird." Or, "Yeah, I sort of like orange soda. I got a buddy that loves it. I don't know why." Like easy. If you're doing nostalgia, which is what this is, like, come on. And like they do the hallucinations, whatever, like Kevin did in the first one, but they do them a lot. And I kind of watched this medicated. I'm not feeling well because of this fucking storm, but yeah. And so that was they did that way too much. And is that everything before I get to the good part of this movie? The relationship between the couple is fine. The friends, I honestly thought one of the Winter stole a doll. But they didn't. But what kind of friends are like, "Oh, thank goodness you're rich." It was starting to get weird. Like, come on, man. You said you had money the whole time. Your friends are struggling. Oh, speaking of the friends, the wife is this Asian woman, and when they first arrive, she's wearing these like thigh high shoes. I don't know shoes, these thigh high heel things. They're black. Mind you, it's snowing out there. It's ice all over. So she's walking very slow, almost sliding, and it goes on for a while. And she starts making faces and smiling, and they're like, I guess that's supposed to be funny. The one good thing from that scene is you get a sight of her ass. That's a nice ass. That's it. Like a lot of the stuff would work if it were like if it didn't continue to go on. Like when they started breaking into the house and they're over the wall, and Ellie Kemper has to lift up Rob Delaney. That went on for way too long. Like, and he was almost over and fell back. Like, oh, okay, you know. And again with Ice, where this kid, he's been a shit the whole movie. He's the villain. He iced, like, remember how Kevin iced the steps in the first one? This kid iced the whole damn street. That's a crime. Alright? So they take this time. I mean, their time. Probably minutes trying to get to his house or their car because of the ice. Like, alright, okay. And there's a lot of homages just for here. The interesting part, which was mostly okay. There's a lot of homages, like this kid. Well, again, I didn't talk much about. He's the villain of the story for most of it. Like he's talking back to adults, even his own mother, calling her by her full name. I'm 31. I can't do that to my mother right now. And you don't like him at all. But he's you're not supposed to. He's this kid. Is a good villain when he's talking to someone or interacting with them. But when he's doing one-liners while he's whipping these adults' asses, it's just not working, like, at all. Like, he does the pizza and Coke one. The pizza and Coke trap. I don't know how to explain what happens there. And he's like, bombs away. Okay. It's like, my mother always said pop was bad for me. Right. What? But yeah. I don't know what in the world. But the obvious stuff, like I was saying, from the first movie. You know how Harry's hair gets set on fire in the first two movies, actually? They set Ellie Kemper's feet on fire. I enjoyed that scene a lot. She really sold it. And then, the scene where Marv is walking on the steps in the first movie barefoot. He's about to step on a needle, and they're like, no. Rob Delaney is putting in their code at 1112. And right on the 2 is a big-ass needle. Oh, excuse me. And he looks right at it and puts his finger on it. I'm like, how did you die? But Marv, he didn't notice it there. It was dark. He had many concussions. He didn't know what was going on. That room was well lit. And you could clearly see the big ass needle sticking out of that butt. He looked at it and he just, like, come on, man. What I did like was the Legos. We can all relate to that. I had Legos. And then I gave my Legos to my younger brothers. So I've stepped on Legos plenty of times. We can relate. And there's the one where Ellie Kemper gets all he puts tacks on his Nerf darts so they look like needles. And so she gets stuck with a bunch of them like small soldiers. And she's like, this kid made me a pin cushion. I'm like, a better line. This kid made me Pinhead. But Disney probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, and she keeps him in there for a good while. And he throws one of those exercise balls at her, then a muscle ball. And she's flying over the place with the needles in her, and she's flopping, and they're going deeper in. I'm like, oh, Saw 2 all over again. And they keep jumping to a chandelier. Because the kid throws his backpack with weights to throw over it so he can pull a Power Rangers the movie, and elevator going up, elevator going down. You understand? I started taking the steps, which are right the fuck. Okay. And then Ellie Kemper tries to do it and falls flat. And again, they show that chandelier. And right when it's all over, when they finally have a dialogue, which they still done before, and they talk about their situations and everything, and realize, oh shit, this is a misunderstanding. This might be another reason people hate this movie. The chandelier falls, almost just like murdering all three of them. And the kid's like, okay, I understand how it looks, but that was a real accident. And then they're like, I should think so. That was funny. I'll give it that. That was funny. But his one-liners when he was whooping her asses, no. Most of the funny during those scenes was Ellie Kemper. Like, she was hilarious. Rob Delaney was more. He had moments, like he was getting shot with the pool balls, but for the most part, he was annoying. Like, Ellie Kemper's character, her name is Pamela, right? And he calls her like Pamela L. Jackson and Pamela Ding Dong. I'm like, dude. And then he won't shut up about the cloud. I don't trust I don't use the cloud. And so that did nothing for me. Just, now the cameo. Oh, wait. And you remember that movie from the first two movies within the movie? Get your ugly, yellow. And he's like, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, and like angels. What is it called? You understand the movie Kevin plays in the first two movies to scare the adults. They redo that. My guess with the same actors because they look older. and it looks like shit. And this movie thought I was clever enough to pull off the whole remake suck trope. It's like, this is Home Alone 6. We know what this is. It's like, stop. You know. Now the cameo. I was expecting 2 cameos because I remember. Again, I'm a fan of this franchise, right? I remember following the movie when it was called Home Alone 6, The Return of Kevin. And Macaulay Culkin was supposed to come back with Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. And it would have followed, sorry about that. And it would have followed a mad Kevin breaking into the home of a now reformed Harry and Marv on Christmas. And that sounds hilarious. It sounds fun. And to an extent, I guess that's what's in this, because the Burglars are not the Village at all. So I suppose that sounds way better. And it would have been directed by Chris Columbus, who did the first 2. But no, instead, Buzz came back. Yeah, Kevin's brother for the first 2 movies. And technically like 3, but it was played by somebody else, so it doesn't count. No, 3 or 4. But it's played by somebody else. I think it was 4, yeah. But Buzz is back, and it's played by the same actor from the first 2 movies. And this time around, he's actually funny. Like, because the alarm system that for some reason speaks in German for a good percent of this movie is a McAllister. Kevin made it. We know this because Buzz says so. And he's a cop, and he gets the call. Oh, I was already up there. It was a false alarm. No, so I reported a kid home alone. Go back over there. Oh, ha ha. They got a McAllister alarm system. I'm McAllister. Yeah, okay. My brother got left home alone 31 years ago twice. He calls me every single year to report a kid home alone just to mess with me. Ha ha ha. It's a joke. That was funny. That was very funny. When he just goes off. And then he became a stereotype. I don't know what he was eating, but he got it all over himself and was dripping. Like, come on, dude. Come on. But yeah. And they set that up perfectly. I was waiting for Kevin to make that call to Buzz to report the kid home alone, which is, it's funny. Illegal. Like, really illegal, but funny. And then, like, waiting for the phone call. Like, how hard would it have been to, right at the end of the movie, or even in the post-credit scene, Buzz is doing his thing, thinks it's all over. The phone rings, he gets to a report. Only we recognize the voice, and he cuts to Kevin. And then Buzz is like, Kevin! Like their dad did in the first 2 movies. Come on. That would have been hilarious. Overall, yeah, this is not the worst word in the franchise. No. It's bad, but it's a different kind of bad. It's an interesting kind of bad. Is what it is. I understand why people say it's the worst, but it's not. It's really not. And yeah, like most of it is not all that funny, especially the slapstick stuff. I mean, before they break into the house. Like, I understand that, but this isn't the worst one, like, at all. And that's my thoughts after watching Home Alone, or Home Sweet Home Alone for the first time. Thank you for watching. Boy, it's the worst one.